Hey guys, I'm back again already. I just thought of some other things I wanted to say. If you want to watch this, try to make this one quick. But I think a lot of people wonder why the name of my business is Luke's Toy Box, and I just kind of want to give you a background on that. When my name is Derek, but my wife and I, we've been married for 16. Well, it'll be 16 years this September, and um, for the first 10 years, we couldn't have kids. Um, we don't. I mean, my wife and I, we wanted to have kids. It was one of those things where if God wants it to happen, it'll happen. Um, I think early on in our marriage, we weren't as passionate about it. Like we wanted to have kids, but we didn't think, well, it may not happen for us. We just assume that it'll happen at some point. And so, I think it was 8 or 9 years past, and we're like, okay, well, it's getting to the point where we should probably find out why we're not able to have kids. And so, um, when we looked into it, we found out that my wife had endometriosis, which is something I had never heard of. Neither one of us, I think, had heard of it at that time. Very unknown uh, problem, and um, and so we found out that we had like a 3% chance of having kids because of that, and so um, it's like, okay, well, what can we do? And so my wife had surgery, and to get rid of the endometriosis, the tissue, and it worked, and it worked for a bit, and then it came back almost right away. So like we didn't have time to even have kids, um, and so we looked up, what else can we do? I mean, because this isn't working. We found out about a place in Atlanta that does a different procedure that actually removes the tissue. It doesn't just burn it away, which was the other procedure. It was a laparoscopic thing, and this other procedure, you actually go in and remove the tissue and get rid of it. And so, very invasive, very big procedure. And so we drove down there and had that done. And there's only like 2 or 3 places in the country that do it. And so yeah, we went down there and had that done. And like let's say 3 or 4 months later, um, we were expecting. Like all of a sudden, it was like we went from the doctor said we went from a 3% chance to 90%, something like 70 to 90% is what he said. 70 up to 90. Like, oh my goodness. And yeah, it happened. It was right away. So so that was amazing. It was a miracle, and we were just so thankful. Um, and after 10 years, it was just we were just felt so blessed, and we were so amazed. And so, um, but unfortunately, and this is common, after 16 weeks, my wife had a miscarriage. It was very hard for us, as it is for everyone that has a miscarriage. After 10 years of trying, wanting kids, and you finally are expecting, and then you have a miscarriage. And so um, when you have to deliver that baby, I mean, it's not an early miscarriage, that's in the middle. So my wife had to deliver the baby, and when we saw him, we found out it was a little boy. Um, we are like, we can't just do nothing. So we're going to name him. We're going to do everything we can to preserve him, as he is our baby, and he is cherished and loved forever by us. And so we named him Luke, and Luke Anthony Roush. You know, we got little footprints and handprints, and had big pictures taken, and we had a funeral for him, a little memorial, and family, loved ones came and were a part of it. And so that's where the name Luke comes from. Obviously, that I was like, I want to keep that memory. I'm gonna keep him a part of me, and in other ways too. And so I, when I was thinking of a name for my company, let's call it Luke's Toy Box. And my wife bought me a shirt with that on it for Father's Day one year. I think is a neat little shirt with a robot on it, and I think at the time it said Luke's Vintage Toys, something like that, and I was like, maybe I should have a business, with that, and an actual like business, and do more with that. And so I'm like, yeah, okay. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, instead of Vintage Toys, let's think of something else. And so I thought Luke's Toy Box, and I kind of found this cool little space guy boy, that's having fun and on an adventure, and thought that was a neat look to it. So made more shirts with that, and I started going to toy shows and selling a lot of the extra toys I have, and so anyway, that's how Luke's Toy Box came to be. So after Luke passed, my wife and I, she was expecting again, and had another miscarriage after 5 weeks with that baby, and then we were expecting again, and she went 34 weeks. We went 34 weeks, so or 30 is just turned 35 weeks, and then we found out that she had passed. So it's nearly full term. Baby could have survived easily outside the womb at that point, and so that was devastating. It was a little girl. We named her Kaylin Anicia Roush, and we had a funeral for her, and perfect little girl, and that was rough. That was they were all rough, but being so close to being born, and the third miscarriage, or that was a stillbirth, but third loss in a row, after wanting a baby for so long. And I know we went through some dark times and questioned whether we should try again. Could we stomach another loss like that? Could we make it? Could we survive that? And God talked to us. He told us, I want you to try. I want you to keep trying. You're meant to have kids, and we did, and got pregnant again, and 37, I think it was 35 weeks again, and my wife started having contractions. This was late one night, and we're like, oh man, okay, it's early. It's a month early. But we went in, and she had a C-section, and our little boy, Peter, was born. He's 2.5 years old now, almost 2.5. and that was amazing. And we're like, oh, we gotta have another one of these guys. And that, but it was a surprise with the second one, and second boy, Paul, when he came along, that pregnancy was a little bit of a surprise. I don't think we were expecting it that quick, We thought, okay, let's give it some time because this guy's only, a year old, or not a year. At the time, he was only like 6, yeah, 6 months. Like, oh, we're already expecting it. So, but yeah, it was exciting. It was wonderful, and bam, bam, we got 2 kids. It's like you don't have kids for so long, and then all of a sudden you got 2. And Paul is almost 1.5. So we got 2 little boys. They're amazing, just incredible. Little redheads. I don't know why they get the redhead. There's some redhead gene in our families somewhere, but like my wife's dad, he had some red hair, some kind of blondish red hair. My wife's blonde, and my hair's pretty brown. It was lighter when I was younger, but yeah. So, but yeah, they look just like us, and but they're very different from each other, but incredible. And so I'm getting them into toys. I'm working on it, and they love Peter already loves Star Wars. He knows Darth Vader, and he's getting there. I've shown him G.I. Joe, He-Man, and all these, and so we're gonna raise them right. But it's incredible. But anyway, just wanted to share that a little bit personal about me and where the name Luke's Toy Box comes from. So now you know. Anyway, all right. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.